What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the True Mets Talk podcast. It's your boy CP. We are talking about the latest Mets happenings, especially with the returns of Jeff McNeil and Francisco Alvarez. Before we fully get into it, please do smash those thumbs up buttons, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below about the state of the New York Mets right now. 18-7. One of the best records in Major League Baseball, the hottest team in Major League Baseball, coming fresh off of a sweep of the division rival Philadelphia Phillies at home. It's a great time to be a New York Mets fan, and I am absolutely hyped for this upcoming series in DC. It's going to be a 4-game set, and we'll talk about it here in just a second. But before we do, we had some happenings in the off day, which was yesterday. I do apologize if the audio is a little bit spotty, a little bit echoey. I am on travel, but I decided to make a short little video right here for you all. I'll be back soon. We'll continue with the regular scheduled programming with the pre-games and the post-games next week because I will be in attendance for Mets vs. Nationals on both Sunday and Monday as well. So we'll see if I can get any streams or videos out on those days for you all. But it's great to see the reinforcements coming back, especially the guys that are going to be contributing at more so the bottom of the lineup in Francisco Alvarez and Jeff McNeil. Now, we know what the obvious move was going to be when Francisco Alvarez was ready to come back, and that was going to be Hayden Sanger, who did a fine job defensively behind the plate, but just doesn't really offer much offensively, especially when you have Luis Torrens, who is holding down the catching position with Francisco Alvarez out. It's going to be very, very interesting to see, especially in the later stages of the season, let's say next month, the month after that, when Francisco Alvarez starts to finally get acclimated, what the playing time distribution between Alvarez and Torrens is going to be, because Luis Torrens has been getting the job done both offensively and defensively. You know that he is one of the best. We all know that, I should say. We all know that Luis Torrens is one of the best backup catchers in Major League Baseball. But what we saw from him, even though he was getting beat up, even though he had to miss a couple of games with the forearm contusion, he has been getting the job done. He's been throwing runners out. He's been spraying the ball the opposite way, right, in terms of getting on base, singles, doubles, etc. I'm curious to see how Mendoza approaches that. Now, if you've listened to me talk about this situation, even going back to last season, when people were asking, well, should Francisco Alvarez be the everyday catcher down the stretch? My answer is still going to be yes, for the simple sake of not stunting the growth of Francisco Alvarez. Now, you can argue, there's a lot of people that will argue this, that Luis Torrens gives you the best chance to win now, and I do fully agree with that. I'm not going to disagree with that, especially given some of the time that Francisco Alvarez is going to need to ramp up, especially in such a demanding position as, the catching position is. But in the long haul, for the sake of this organization that has been long awaiting a consistent starting catcher, star power behind the plate that we haven't had since, let's say, the good days of Travis d'Arnaud and maybe even Paulo Duca, right? You can't stunt Francisco Alvarez's growth. So for the sake of the future, I think that Francisco Alvarez is going to need to remain the everyday starter, but I think the playing time distribution conversation is going to be a lot closer than what we had originally thought going into this season. In spring training before Francisco Alvarez suffered that injury. So that's that situation, right? And now you have the dynamic of Jeff McNeil also coming back. This is great for the New York Mets, by the way. I know the offense has been coming around as of recent, and a lot of baseball fans are superstitious and they don't want to change what's been working. But when you have two starters coming back, especially at the same time as the offense finally clicking and getting hot, it is awesome. It's awesome. And I am here to welcome both of these players back onto this team. And it was going to be a tough decision for Mendoza, for David Stearns, what the residual move, what the corresponding move was going to be when Jeff McNeil got back. Was it going to be Brett Baty being sent down? Was it going to be Luis Angel Acuna? Both of which were performing and have been performing at a very high level offensively over the past week and a half. Both got off to slow starts offensively to start their season and have since picked it up. Brett Baty Classic example, a two-run, 425-foot bomb off of Zach Wheeler to get things going in order to help the Mets offense get to that sweep in the last game of the Phillies series. And then he gets sent down on the off day yesterday. I think it's the right move. I like Brett Baty. I like Luis Angel Acuna more as the dynamic ball player that he is. There are things that Luis Angel Acuna on the field can do and contribute to the team, especially while not playing on an everyday basis, that Brett Baty simply can't do. And that's the important distinction here. And that's what I think went into the decision process making this decision from the front office level, is that you're going to have Luis Angel Acuna still probably being a platoon second baseman until Jeff McNeil fully ramps up. You're probably going to see Jeff McNeil in the outfield a handful of occasions in which Luis Angel Acuna gets those starts at second base as well. But when Jeff McNeil's at second base, because he's going to be playing a lot of second base as well, that is where Luis Angel Acuna is going to have to be on the bench. He's going to have to contribute to the team later in the game. Defensive substitution, pinch runner, pinch hitter. And I think that in that situation, in that role, Luis Angel Acuna is more well equipped and better suited to make contributions rather than Brett Baty. Just my opinion. We'll see if it works out or not. But what I will say is that this is not the last of Brett Baty that we're going to see. He is going to come back up and he's going to have some type of role on this team, whether it's midsummer, whether it's down the stretch. And he's definitely going to be one of the September call-ups if he is healthy and producing in the minor league organization, right, in AAA. And that's just going to be that. And so we'll see how this move is going to affect the roster and the play performance of Luis Angel Acuna moving forward, but do not expect Brett Baty to be down for long. I would like to see Brett Baty up sooner rather than later, and we'll see how the roster moves shake out to make that happen. That's just a little bit of foreshadowing that I'm trying to do. But let's get into this series that's going to be kicking off here in DC. With the Mets offense rolling, I know that historically they do like hitting in DC. I've watched a lot of games between the Mets and the Nationals in DC over the past couple of seasons. Pete Alonso loves hitting in Nats Park. And so I'm very curious to see how Pete Alonso continues his dominance this season, because he and Francisco Lindor, as of recent, have been absolutely carrying this offense. And you see the individual performances of Luis Angel Acuna, Brett Baty, Jesse Winker here recently starting to pick up the slack. Even Mark Vientos behind those two guys are setting the table. And Juan Soto, the discussion of Juan Soto is going to be ongoing. I'm going to leave that to the, I guess, negative side of the fan base to continue to harp on. Yes, he hasn't looked good. Yes, he hasn't lived up to the $765 million. But if you think that this is the version of Juan Soto that we're going to continuously get over the long haul of this season and even in this contract, you are sadly mistaken. I have full confidence in Juan Soto, and you're going to see why here very, very shortly. But game one is going to be tonight. I'm going to release this video sometime before the game as a little bit of a preview / announcement for the moves that we just mentioned. It's going to be Kodai Senga versus Irvin, and Jake Irvin has actually had so much success against the Mets lineup over the past couple of seasons. He threw a couple of gems, I believe, last season against the New York Mets, or maybe it was the season before, but really good pitcher, really talented pitcher. Really want to see the Mets attack and jump on some of those pitches early on in the ball game and not let him extend into the 6th and 7th inning. But again, to counter Irvin, you've got nobody better than Kodai Senga going in game one. Clay Holmes gets the ball in game two. Tyler McGill gets the ball in game three. I'll be at the Sunday game watching Tyler McGill there at noon Eastern time. And Griffin Canning, I'll also be in attendance for, going up against former Met Trevor Williams. Quite simply, I know the Nationals team is kind of up and coming. They've got a lot of young stars. It's kind of a fast forward rebuild that they're undergoing. They're not ready to compete just yet, but I'm not writing them off. This should 100% be a series win. The Mets should be able to take 3 of 4 against the Washington Nationals. But I never like to count out the Washington Nationals because they just have this scrappy vibe to them, especially with some of the young talent that they've got. But I think that you can clearly say here, objectively, right, whether you're a Nationals fan or a Mets fan, that the pitching matchups favor the New York Mets in this series. It's time to get it done. Welcome back, Francisco Alvarez and Jeff McNeil. As always, let's go Mets. I'll see you all in my usual environment. Again, I apologize for the audio. Am on travel here, but we'll see you all soon. I'll be back home soon, and let's go Mets. Peace.